Long way, get this shit a long way, this shit a long way. Long way, hit the long way, 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 shit, long way, 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 shit a long way. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit, gotta get the shit long, finish rich, yeah. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit, gotta know she don't really understand, man. Gotta know she don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, but she don't understand. She be tripping every day, she be tripping every way. But I gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long way. Tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, yeah. Get money every single way, every day. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. I'm feeling like we be the new slave, yeah. No, we gotta finish rich, no, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand, she don't understand, niggas gotta get rich. She don't understand, sometimes we gotta hit lit, no, we ain't hit lit. Tryna get the long way, yeah. Tryna get the shit the long way, yeah. Coach is tryna wrap up a entree, yeah. Told you the other day that did my phone strong. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Yeah, get the shit long way. My bitch be tripping back and forth like a long way. When I get Atari, I ain't playing games, so I'm done talking. Yesterday she told me that she about to leave, man. Said fuck it, bitch, we gonna get some money. Said fuck it, bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I want to get some money, yeah. Cause we gon' get the shit the long way, we gon' get shit the long way, yeah. Back and forth like the pong way, yeah. Man, I'ma get the shit the long way, get the shit the long way. Just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy. We gotta wear a mask, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day. We be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, for yeah. So we gon' get the shit the long way, we gon' get the shit long way, we gon' get the shit the long way, we gon' get the shit the long way, yeah, we get the shit the long way, yeah, cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, yeah, we gon' get the long way, yeah.
What up, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, brother, truth be told? Kang, what's going on? What's up? Early morning. I'm up every morning meditating. You know, I see Kang says he's about to work this job all day. Just make sure you just look at it in a positive way. Be happy that you know and you have a tool. A job is nothing more than a tool to help you be free. That's it. You know you're not using this tool to finance cars and phones and just to keep you in debt. You're just using this tool for what it is. What's up, James? What's up, Eclectic? Good morning. Let me remove this thing here. Good morning. Good morning. It's 9 a.m. here on the East Coast, at least. If you guys are on the West Coast, I know it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, I was born and raised in Seattle, so I understand what that is. But anyway, welcome if you're new to the channel. My name is LJ Young, and I am a 100% debt-free motivational speaker and personal finance educator. I'm here to share my gift. And my gift is the ability to see negative numbers psychologically. All right, capitalism is psychological, so that's what makes it a gift. All right. But in order to understand this gift, you have to do the hard work and become debt-free. I didn't know capitalism was psychological. I didn't know capitalism was psychological until I freed myself and owned myself. Now, once you get out of debt, you own yourself. All right. And I'm the founder of SMD. That's how SMD was born, SavingsMinusDebt. If I didn't free myself, SMD would have never, ever existed. All right. Anyway, welcome to the show. Today, as you guys can see in the title, and I was thinking about this early this morning, you know, and I mean, I've been known this, but to really understand what it means to say no currency at all in any form exists for debt slaves. I mean, for those of you that follow the channel, I want you to, it takes a minute for that to soak in. If you're on your journey of becoming debt free, which is the main task, that's the hardest part, getting out of debt to own yourself. But once you get out of debt and own yourself, right, you got to really grasp that no currency in any form, what's up, Robert BK? What's going on, sir? In any form exists for debt slaves. Now, when I was in debt, I used to always wonder, why did they call money currency sometimes, right? I knew there were separate words for a reason, but I just kind of heard it and just went on about my day and everything. But now that I'm out of debt, now I understand that currency is a belief. It's currency is not physical, but debt slaves don't know that. They don't know no currency exists for them. Not paper money. Like, think about it this way. Debt slaves don't even know paper currency doesn't exist for them. So imagine them believing in things that really don't exist. Cryptocurrency, in it now, NFTs. I mean, when you get out of the game, man, when you understand, when you own yourself, you just like, wow, they're just abused, financially speaking, of course, right? So anyway, the reason why I'm talking about this today, I was watching the Super Bowl, right? And I noticed during the Super Bowl commercials, they were pretty much shoving cryptocurrency down debt slaves' throats, right? So I said, okay, I'm thinking, okay, I know currency doesn't exist. Why are they pushing cryptocurrency right now? It's got to be a purpose for it. I don't know why they're pushing it so hard for now, but they really want debt slaves to believe in something that doesn't exist, and they're pushing really hard for it. All kind of apps too. Now, the only thing I can think of right now is that of course, they charge them fee. These apps are not doing managing their so-called cryptocurrency for free. They're charging them fees. So they're charging them fees for something that doesn't exist. And obviously they're starting to make more and more money off these apps that manage invisible currency. New ones are coming out every day, right? And Coinbase seems to be the biggest, right? I don't know what they're charging. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. It's just money. But I sit back and think, wow, that is just it's just amazing to see how it's done. I mean, when you get on like when you get on put it this way, cryptocurrency commercials are like medicine commercials, right? If a cryptocurrency commercial comes on TV, all you got to do is put it on mute. Mute the commercial, and you will see how debt slaves are sold invisible currencies. Now, the okay, so the only thing I can think of why they're doing it so hard, because virtual reality is coming out, right? And now, like in the real world, right? Debt slaves own nothing. Okay, let's go back. Let's stay in the real world, and then we're going to go into the virtual world, because I'm trying to make this connection, right? Debt slaves have no idea they own nothing in the real world. The majority of the houses you see, like when you drive down the street, even in nice neighborhoods, it really doesn't matter. Those are all mathematical illusions. If they have mortgages, it doesn't matter where they live. Okay, I want you guys to really understand and be clear about that. So it's an illusion. The American dream. They don't hide anything. You have to be asleep to dream. Mathematical illusions, right? Now they're taking it. Now they got debt slaves believing that they can buy virtual real estate. How will this virtual real estate be paid for? Some type of cryptocurrency that they'll make up. And when and they'll pay for it. Debt slaves don't know that they'll be paying for it with real money, exchanging it for virtual money. Anyway, just to watch it, just to watch it being done. To really, I mean, you got to really, really think about this. You got to really think about this. Nothing, no currency exists for debt slaves. None. And they don't even know it. Nothing at all. And then I think about in the real world, imagine these so-called financial experts that are managing. Debt slaves are paying these financial experts to manage their financial portfolios, right? Can you imagine? Imagine from the bank's point of view. Okay, pretend I'm the bank, and somebody comes to me asking for a loan, and they bring me their financial portfolio, right? And I open it up, and damn near everything in it I own. But to them, they believe they own. They're just they don't know they're just responsible for the debt. I opened this financial portfolio, right? And they're managing my assets. They believe they're homeowners with equity and I own the home. They believe they own rental property with equity and I own the rent. I own Not only do I own their home, I own the rental properties, I own their car, everything. Can you imagine that? It is impressive, Andre. It is very. And imagine me sitting across the table from this debt slave, professional. It could be a doctor, and I want you guys to understand something because debt slaves, you guys believe somebody's profession makes them something. It doesn't make them anything. They're just an educated, educated debt slave on paper. I'm the bank person sitting across from the person. They think their credit score has something to do with something. Credits and they to look at a debt slave and say, a credit score are reward points for staying in debt. So if you have a high credit score, it's just a thank you for staying in debt. Thank you, debt slave. Thank you for managing all my properties. And they come with this fancy financial portfolio that they probably paid some financial person who's also in debt. The same way, owning nothing, no currency, nothing. Now they're pushing everybody to NFTs, crypto. Oh my God. I swear, man. I bet you and I guarantee, I don't guarantee because I've never been in these rooms. I'm probably too old to ever be able to even, I'm not even saying be able to participate, to even have a chair to sit in the back of the room and shut up and don't say anything, right? They probably be in this room just, hey, what are we going to make up this year? Just make up they'll believe anything. Just make it up. As long as they believe that they're getting in on something early and believe if they get in on early, they're going to make a killing. And this is what they say. Okay, we want you to find some young kid that got this. Just make it up because none of it can be. Debt slaves validate nothing. Okay. Pretend some 21-year-old got in early on NFTs. He cashed out. Now he's a millionaire. And then they'll believe it. Of course, you guys will. Spend all that money on Super Bowl commercials. I like this what Coinbase did. I noticed Coinbase commercial during the Super Bowl, right? They had what's that what's that thing called where you can use your phone to click to take a picture of it and then it'll direct you to the whatever they're trying to. They had that thing bouncing around on the screen. Now remember, Super Bowl commercials cost money, serious bread. They had that thing bouncing around on the screen for at least 30 seconds. At least 30 seconds. And then after the thing got done bouncing around, it said Coinbase at the end. QR code. Thank you, Kang. QR code. They had this QR code bouncing around. Now, these commercials cost millions of dollars for 30 seconds. Okay? Millions. The QR code's bouncing around on the screen, not saying a word, no music, nothing. They understand how much money they're going to pull in just for that. That's why they spent it. You think they would spend it if they didn't was going to make a return on that? No, sir. They're pushing cryptocurrency for a reason, for the virtual reality. Virtual real estate. Mm, it's just bananas, man. Bananas. The bank doesn't want the asset. They want the debt slaves, which are much more valuable. Debt slaves are the assets. To really, even sometimes today, I will every morning, well, not every morning, but like I said, morning time is my meditation time, right? To really understand that if no currency exists for debt slaves, none, zero, not even the paper currency that is like they'll say, "Oh man, you know how much money is printed," no, they don't. They don't need to print any money. You know how movies always, movies always do. Every time, okay, put it this way: every time they do a commercial about the central banks or the money, they always show money being printed across these big machines and stacks of money being rolled into big ass vaults. That's a trick. They don't need to print that much money. That much money's not printed. No, it's not. They don't need to because for debt slaves, money is digital numbers on a screen. It's just digital numbers on the screen. That's it. It's all they got to do is program. That's how they program you. That's why it's called a program on TV. I remember when I was a debt slave, I used to hear that every now and then. Why do you think they call TV shows a program? That's what it is. It's a program. You ask the average debt slave, "Hey, do you know what the central bank is?" They won't know. "Hey, do you know your tax bracket? What is that?" Just think about it. To walk up to a debt slave with money in their pocket, right, and say, "You know that's not in your pocket, right?" Can you imagine? They'll look at you like you're nuts. But that's how it's supposed to be. You're right about that. Debt debt and taxes ensures participation. That's true. It's diabolical how they reinvented slavery and put it this way, brother, truth be told, and you guys can believe this or not, it's totally up to you, right? When physical slavery was legal, that's how the wealthy became wealthy, okay? That's how they became wealthy, all right? And when you understand that capitalism is psychological, the wealthy understood that physical slavery was coming to an end because they also know nobody stops evolution. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Nobody stops evolution or change, whatever you want to call it, right? So they said to themselves, we have to come up with something else to stay wealthy. So they got together the greatest minds in the United States, probably in the world, excuse me, because capitalism is all over the world. They got together the greatest minds in the world and said, we need to create psychological slavery, psychological capitalism. How are we going to do that? And then they did it. Here we are, psychological capitalism. Make debt slaves believe that currency exists when it doesn't. I don't know, come up with some paper. And then we got to come up, it's a whole plan. And then we got to come up and enforce and make sure people don't copy it. Okay. And then we got to force debt slaves to participate. Oh, taxes. Okay. If they don't pay, what happens to them? They go to prison. They don't want to lose their freedom. Okay. I get it and respect it. I do. I do. And to think about, like, when I talk about, even talking about it with you guys today, I just sit back in awe. It's just like, wow, and I've been, you'll see this, like, just think about how many, like, just on YouTube, just go, all these so-called financial professionals, even in business. Do you guys know there's business professionals that manage financial portfolios and they're in debt? They have they took the, that's crazy to open a financial portfolio and they look at it and believe that they own the stuff in it. Mm, mm. You know what's worse than a mortgage for a house? A crypto mortgage for a digital house. Oh man. Exactly, Andre. They don't own, see, and that's what's crazy, Clarence. Just like what Andre said, it doesn't make a difference. They don't own anything in the real world. Imagine what's going to happen to them in the virtual world. It is, because you got to remember, you can't make multiple Earths. Okay. You can't, nobody can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to create another Earth and start my own whatever. You can't do that. But in the virtual reality, you can, creating virtual worlds is unlimited. No different than, look at it like cryptocurrency. Have you noticed how many cryptocurrencies it's unlimited. You can create as many cryptocurrencies as you wish. And their slaves are led like puppy dogs, cows. Like, think about, how they lead cows to slaughter. They just set up rails and put food, and the cow just follows it all the way to the end, and then they think their food's on the other side of this hole, stick their neck through, and bam, it's over. Same thing. It's the same thing. It's no different than, like, put it this way, when you go to, have you noticed, like, when you go to stores, it doesn't even matter, retail stores, grocery stores, you're led through a maze before you get to the cash register. And even at the cash register, they got shit stacked around the cash register for you to buy. I mean, all the way till you click finish pay. It's non-stop. All to, and it's just business. It's not like, let me give you another example. Okay, here's another example. Mr. Dave Ramsey, right? Now this is just business. There's nothing negative about Mr. Ramsey, because without Mr. Ramsey, I wouldn't be here on the mic today. But his baby steps, I think he got 7, right? Baby steps 1 through 3 basically says, use the calculator to get out of debt. But then when you get to baby step 4, it says, stop using the calculator for some reason. And for what that's called business. Because baby steps 4 through 7, you can't do that with the mortgage. Baby steps 4 through 7, you can't do any of those steps with a mortgage because you're still in debt. That's why mortgages buy people, not houses. But that's nothing negative about Mr. Ramsey. All the people are doing it. That's You think debt slaves know that? They don't know that. Why? Because they have no currency. No currency exists for debt slaves. None. Zero. Oh, I didn't see that, Andre. Meta is taking him to Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island. What's up, Nicer? Jacquees, Omanique. Arms dealer, welcome. 2, I can't even like when I think about like I was driving around, like I live by the beach, right? And I like driving through these particular really nice neighborhoods. And when I drive through them, of course I look at the houses and say, "Wow, look at that. Look at these nice houses." But at the same time in my mind, the majority of those people have mortgages. They just can afford a higher payment than you. Like debt slaves, you guys don't know again, you guys don't know that no currency exists for you. And you don't know mortgages by people, not houses, right? So you might have a mortgage, but you're in a it might be a smaller house, but you go to a neighborhood by the beach, and you'll see the people in those houses, and you'll think they're rich. Do you know they're the same as you? They can just afford a bigger payment, but you guys are all owned. Mortgages by you. Those houses are worthless. Do you understand that? They're not worth anything. Oh, excuse me. They're only worth something to the people that can afford to buy them. Buy equals cash. Do you like when you sit back and really think, right? The majority of houses that you see every day, they're bank owned. They're not owned by people. Those people in those houses, they're managing the bank's properties. That's it. Equity doesn't that's not money. You guys think equity oh man. Mm, mm. The banks, the banks, the banks. Mm. I can imagine what they're doing in this room now that virtual reality is coming here. Oh man, I bet you they're just generational wealth. Generational wealth. They just know and understand what's about to happen here. It's about to explode. They're about to be mm, unlimited money. Currency only exists for those of us that own ourselves. You don't have to be rich for currency to be real for you. You just have to own yourself first. That's the key to it all, man. It's just and they just use the big events to suck more debt slaves in while they're being entertained at the Super Bowl, cheering on the games, buying all their worthless bullshit shirts and stuff that they probably made for $1, $2 in China somewhere. Sell each shirt for 100 or two. I don't even know how much jerseys go for. I never paid for a jersey with somebody else's name on the back. Hell no, I ain't doing that. No. I can only I saw oh yeah, I saw that I saw that SoFi Stadium. I was like, wow, look at that stadium. Absolutely amazing. And then when I read what they do, they refinance student loan debt. And then I understood why that stadium looks like that. Because they refinance student loan debt. That's probably their main income. Mm, mm, mm. Mm. I was like, "Wow, man, that's why the stadium looks like that." And can you imagine how many people in that stadium had student loan debt? All at the football game. What are you doing there? You can't be there. You have no money to buy tickets. Yes, they do. They financed it. The bank says, "Yes, they do." Shut up, LJ. They do. They have money. Can you imagine the people at the now the people that are watching the game on TV, they're like, "Oh my god, I wish I could be there." Do you know the people that you're seeing on TV in the stands? They're not even there. They don't know that they're not there. You think they know that they're not at the game? They don't know that. They're going to be paying for those seats for the next 5 to 10 years of their life for that one Super Bowl game. Those tickets those tickets are, it counts on where you're sitting, but they're financing those tickets. They're going to be making payments on that. They're going to be making payments on that Super Bowl game for the next 5 to 10 years. Cuz you got to be insane if you think the majority of those people paid cash for those tickets. No, they didn't. Credit cards. Congratulations, Visa and MasterCard. Congratulations. AKA the bank. Mm. I can't even now I watch the game, but I can't really watch it the same way the majority of people watch it. I just can't do it, man. It's very hard. Now, there's just some funny commercials that I watch, but man, when they was doing that cryptocurrency, I said, "Oh, you guys are getting ready for virtual reality. That's why you're pushing that shit." Got it. Got it. I understand. Getting ready for all these virtual worlds that they're about to create. Mm, 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 mm. Even when I was in a debt matrix, I never could understood like I was never a sports fan, right? I never followed sports. I just d- I just didn't. I don't know. I just can't get into I never could get into watching other people live their dreams and getting paid for it. I mean, I'm not jealous of them. I'm happy for people that did what it takes to become a professional athlete. Okay, that's impressive, but I'm not paying to watch you live your dreams. I got to live my own dreams. And that takes hard work. That takes owning yourself. That takes believing in yourself that you can do it. It's clearly possible. Look, they're doing it. They're clearly doing it. And here's another thing I noticed too when I was watching the games. You notice how like you notice how when they like the quarterback of the teams, and then they'll show the quarterback's family up in the stands. They always do that, right? They'll show them. Now that's for debt slaves to see the person, the main quarterback on the field, and then when you see their family, the first thing you think it's a psychological thing. You think, man, look at the family. They probably got awesome seats. You know, they're rich. They probably drive nice cars. All these things are going through your head psychologically, but debt slaves don't know that it's happening. But have you noticed this? You don't ever see they'll show the owner of the team, right? But they rarely show the owners' families. Have you noticed that? Because they don't want you to see them because they're making trillions of dollars. If the players are making millions, that means the owners are making trillions. And since it's private, you guys don't know. You guys don't know how much money they're making. But but all you got to do is sit back and think about it. Look how much money they're paying the players. Now add a T to their money. Okay, that's called generational wealth. While they sit back and watch all the people on the field hurt themselves, risk their lives, break bones, because once you injure yourself, I don't care what kind of doctors the NFL have. You're never the same ever. And what's that dude's name on the again, I always the one that got hurt on the LA Rams with the purple hair, right? He hurt his knee. He went to catch the ball. He caught it, and then his knee hurt, and he dropped that shit like a hot potato, right? I thought to myself, he's pretty much done. I watched his face. I looked at his face as they walked him off the field. You could see it in his face. He's like, "Yeah, that's it." Because I think that's his like third time. My son tells me about it. Third time with the same knee. That's it. Doesn't matter how good you were or played or whatever. If you can't benefit the team, that's it. You're out. See ya. Odell Beckham. Yeah. I saw him when he caught that ball and then he dropped it. I was like, damn, why'd he drop it? Nobody was around him. Oh, mm, that's pretty much it. I hope you've been handling your money right. Cause I always think like this. If If I could get a hold of one, if I could get a hold of sports players, do you guys understand? Mm. If the sports players found me, the game would be changed for them. The financial game, of course. Mm. Me neither. Me neither. I never understood that, wearing another man's name on the back of your like, for most of you guys probably don't know, but I was in a commercial with, Russell Wilson, the quarterback for the Seahawks, right? Back in, 2015, I did a commercial with Russell Wilson, right? And, and and the sports fans and people that I did the commercial with him, and then the first game of the season, they aired it they aired it on the field or something, because I didn't tell anybody, right? And then I got all these calls like, "Oh my God, LJ, you didn't tell us, man. You did a commercial with Russell Wilson and this and that and da da da." I was like, Was I supposed to? What's the big? Oh man, you got to meet him. You got to talk to him. Yeah, he's there, but I don't look at people like that. I see him and I'm like, oh man, congratulations, young man. Shit, good job on your accomplishments or whatever, right? It's not a big deal, but people were looking at me like almost like I was a star for meeting him. It was the weirdest. It was weird to me. Did you talk to him? Did you get his autograph? No. Why would I want? No. Here, Russell, will you sign this for me? What am I going to do with that? Because he signed it and show every. I just don't get that kind of stuff, man. I'd rather do my own thing. What's up, Dark Man? Does SoFi own a cannabis company? I don't know. Do they? Do they, Andre? All right. Have a good day, Kang. I know you got to get to work, man. The problem with athletes, especially the black ones, is their whole family expects them to splurge on them. So that's why probably, you know, what? It's a couple of things, Jacquees. It's a couple of things. It's like you got to remember that, like, if I could get a hold of a young sports player and show them what it really means, right? And I would teach them the value of no, even to your own family. Now, to your mom and dad, that's a little different, but it still would be limits on that too, right? But the value of no, because I can only imagine the pressure they have when they get drafted. The whole family probably believe they get a car and a house and jewelry and all this other stuff. But I would tell them, no, you get nothing. If I want to give you something, I will. I'll give you something. But the answer is no. Money, they could play. I could have a sports player play one season if they chose to, one season, maybe two, and retire for the rest of their life. That's it. Without damaging their bodies. Because when you really think about it, football, man, it's really no different than the wealthy sitting in the stands. And there's nothing wrong with the wealthy creating this. I want to make sure you guys understand there's nothing wrong with the wealthy creating this and kicking back and making the money off of it. It's no different. Put it this way. When you're wealthy, you can create you no longer need to use the time in your life to create generational wealth. Just like the people that purchased the James Brown rights to James Brown's everything. That's how you create generational wealth. They didn't have to use the time. They don't have to use the time in their life to create wealth for their grandchildren and their grandchildren's grandchildren off of James Brown's legacy. The majority of black people that know James Brown, the majority of them will never know that James Brown's property was purchased by a particular company. They make a small little blurb about it in the whatever, knowing that the majority of people never read it and never think about it again. That's how it's done. Mm. I saw that. I was like, wow, man. Just congratulations to the purchasers of James Brown's estate. Congratulations. I had no money to do it. They could easily buy them annuities that pay their family members for life. Yeah, exactly. Clearly, they don't have any advisors. They don't. And you know what, Andre? I really believe that's also part of it too. It's no different than it really is no different than somebody winning the lottery, a debt slave winning the lottery. They've never seen that amount of money in their life. They've been trained to believe what they see on TV, get that money, buy a big house. And when I say buy a big house, just because they win the lotto, and I know it sounds weird, right? A person that wins the lottery, they still wouldn't buy a house in cash. They would still get a mortgage. A debt slave that wins the lottery will just they will finance a house with a bigger mortgage payment because now they believe they can afford a bigger payment. No different than a person that gets a raise at a job and then they upgrade their house with a big, now I can afford a bigger payment. I can afford a bigger mortgage payment. I can afford a bigger car payment. It doesn't matter the amount of money that debt slaves get. Why? Because no currency exists for debt slaves. None. I want you guys that follow this channel, I want you guys to really understand this, especially if you're in debt. If you're in debt and you're listening to this now or later or whatever, because remember, these videos will last to the end of time, well after I'm dead. Why? Because it will be that way until the end of time. What I'm explaining to you, because it has to be that way. No currency exists for you. So if you have a mortgage, the house is not yours. Mortgages by you, not the house. And if you sit back and you see all your circle of friends, this is what they never really explain to you. They always kind of give you an idea of, hey, your circle of friends or a reason that they're mimicking you or mirror or whatever these sayings are, right? But if you have a mortgage, probably all your friends have mortgages. If you have student loan debt, all your friends have student loan debt. That's why you guys are all friends. Most of your friends are probably coworkers. You know why? Because you guys have to be there. Why? Because currency doesn't exist for you. None. You don't know a paid off house is one of the best investments ever. Can you imagine how much money you would save with no rent or mortgage for the rest of your life? Think about it. Your largest monthly expense is what? Where you live. Now, in your mind, and this is just a program, okay, because you guys have no money, you believe mortgage and rent is just part of life. You guys believe that rent is different than a mortgage. You think a mortgage, no, excuse me, you think a mortgage is different than rent. A mortgage is just rent to the bank. This is the difference between rent and a mortgage, right? Rent, you have a landlord in the mix, okay? That's why it's called rent. You pay rent to the landlord pays that money to the bank. You remove the landlord, now you have what's called, they just changed the word to mortgage and you guys believe it's different, right? Now you believe you own something and you're not paying rent. You're just not paying it to the landlord. Now you're paying it to the bank. That's it. That's no different. Equity's not money. The reason why you guys believe equity is money is because no currency exists for you. You hear the word equity and you equate it to money. Well, why do you do that? That's a program. I tell people all the time, every dollar I spend must return to me. They laugh. Just laugh. I can only imagine Andre's face when they laugh. You probably think, "Why are you laughing?" "Oh, you're a debt slave. That's why you're laughing." "Why are you laughing, debt slave?" "Because you're a debt slave. Only debt slaves would laugh at that." A simple change in the mind equal a paradigm shift in life. Sure, so crazy, Andre. It is just that simple. I was watching this channel last night. I'm not even gonna say the name. I'm not gonna say who was on it. I'll just say it like this: to see this particular guest repeatedly come on this particular show means I have no business ever being on that show ever. Because that tells me, I look at this person on the show, I'm like, yeah, that means I will never be on that show, even if they ask me, no, I'm not coming on that show. Why? Because you keep having that person on the show. I don't want people thinking I'm like that person. I'm unlike I'm unlike the majority in the United States of America when it comes to the finance game. Unlike the majority. It's amazing how sports players could play a children's game and make millions while military men and women get paid. You know what, JX? There are, put it this way, JX. Let me put it this way. With this knowledge that I share with you guys, there are limits. Okay. There are limits where I stop because you got to remember the majority. I'm going to give you an example. The military people go and risk their lives for the country. And then they come up with something called the VA mortgage. And they put VA in front of it to make it sound like it's special. That mortgage is not that's mm. Stop. VA mortgage, that's not special. That's horrible. I just like, why would you do that? Why would you do that to people that risk their lives? Oh, it's just business. Nothing personal. It's just business. It's just business. But it's just the way everything I want people to understand. Everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. Like, put it this way, I will see, and this is what I pay attention to. I will see a wealthy people's children join the military, but then I'll pay attention to the positions in the military they are. Have you noticed that? The majority of the wealthy people's children that go into the military, they're not usually on the battlefield or in the front lines. They're usually in high-ranking positions in the background. I mean, don't get me wrong. There has to be people in the background controlling things and directing things. It's just the way it is. Okay, it's not. But I just want you guys. But when they get out, they can say, "Hey, my son and daughter was in the military." Sure, was. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I totally understand. I get it, and the most importantly, I respect it. I respect how everything works. Everything. Because the designers of it all say, if you want to live here, these are the rules. This is how it works. This is what you can say. This is what you can't say. All that. I understand. Hey, I was just born into it. Who am I to come in here, born into the United States of America and say, hey, I don't like that. Well, you don't like that. You can leave. It's true. It's true, Andre. It's worse. Oh, no money down. It's only for military people. Why are you guys making it sound like it's special? That's not special. That's horrible. The VA mortgages are horrible. 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 I was like, why would you? Oh, it's just because it's business. That's why, LJ, it's business. Oh, okay. Well, none of my business. How come? Because no currency exists for debt slaves. Doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter because no money. Just think about it. The money in their pockets don't exist. You can make it. You can make as many types of invisible cryptocurrency as you wish, but try to copy the dollar. Anything. Here's a hint. Okay, when you get out of the debt matrix. Okay, anything, because time is the most valuable thing on earth. Time, the time in your life. Anything that will take away the time in your life, meaning that will cause you to go to prison through due to a financial something, right? Tax evasion, trying to copy the U.S. dollar in any form or fashion that sends you to prison. That's a hint. That's a hint. It basically says, do not fuck with that. Because people say it all the time. Man, you can get, all you got to do is pay attention. People go to prison longer for tax evasion than murder. Now, people complain, "Oh my God, you can go to." That's a hint that says something to you. That, whoa, wait a minute, what? Yeah, that's true. All you got to do is take a step back and say, "Why is that?" Because this cannot collapse. Because if the wealthy allow it to collapse, the wealthy no longer are wealthy because they know none of this works without you. Without debt slaves, without you guys not knowing that currency doesn't exist for you in any form. Whatever is made up, NFTs, all the new things, because they know you guys love to jump on the next new thing because you guys think you'll become rich by getting into it early. But what you guys don't understand, it doesn't matter when it comes unto whatever new thing comes out, you have no money to buy nothing. Why? Because currency doesn't exist for you. You guys are attracted to gold because it's shiny. Doesn't matter if it's shiny. You have no money to buy gold, silver, nothing, nothing, nothing. Shit like that commands respect. It commands respect. Now, that is a very tough pill to swallow because you guys are so occupied with other stuff to keep your mind busy. Just worried about what other debt slaves are doing, who's doing what, why do debt slaves do whatever. You guys are so occupied that not even knowing that you don't own yourself and nothing exists for you. The house you live in, the car you drive, nothing. Hey, I'm gonna get me an electric car so I can save money on gas. You can't save money on gas if you don't have the money to buy the car. What are you talking about? It doesn't matter if the car is gas or electric. Do you have the money to buy it? No, then it doesn't matter. But again, you guys don't know the value of time because you don't own the time in your life. People that people that first of all, people that finance electric cars don't know that they're not saving money on gas, right? But then you guys will sit at an electric station for 45 minutes to an hour recharging your cars. Now, all you got to do is take a step back. Would you sit at a gas pump for 45 minutes to fill your car? You'll be like, hell no, I would never, because I will go to a gas station. Every now and then I'll go to a gas station that I don't really know because I might be close to E and I really ain't got no choice. And then have you ever went up to a pump and that gas pump is so slow? You'll see the numbers rolling and that thing is so slow and you just like, oh my God, I've been here for like 10 minutes. You'll throw a hissy fit, but you'll pull up to an electric charging station and have no problem sitting there for 45 minutes to an hour Why? Because you don't own the time in your life. You don't even own the car. That's why the reason why you're accepting of that, because you don't know the value of time. You don't know the value of time because you're financing an electric car. That's what you think. Debt slaves do that. Debt slaves will wait in line to get to the charging station so not only just the 45 minutes to sit there to charge the car up, who knows how long they're sitting in line to get to the charging station. And all you got to do is, I know nobody will ever do this. When they're sitting in line, go to each car and walk up to them and say, hey, knock on the window. Hey, yeah, are you making car payments? Yeah. Then just say to yourself, that's why they're sitting there. The majority of people driving electric cars, they're financed electric cars. They're trading, not only are they trading their time and their life for 84 months of payments, they're trading the time in their life to sit there at a charging station. Are you insane? Hell no. Why? Because you have no currency. None. Debt slaves do that. True. True. It's entertainment. I get it. Hey, man. I want you guys to understand something. To the owners of professional teams, congratulations to you. That's forever money, forever money. But I guarantee you this, the wealthy understand, especially the owners of sports players, they understand that the time is coming to an end for physical sports players. That's coming to an end. Nobody stops evolution. It will be all online. So to where everybody will be professional online sports players. You mark my words. The day of physical sports players will come to an end. Probably not during my time, probably when I'm 80 or 90. Now that like football players, right? I'm sure the NFL, can you imagine, you probably sign up for the NFL and football players, and you got to probably sign some waivers for brain damage and broken bones or whatever, right? It's just whatever, right? They can get around all that now if they make them all virtual players now. Because there are some good people that know how to play these games virtually. Because I was like, when I was younger, I mean, I used to be into Mortal Kombat. I was a Mortal Kombat fan, okay? But that was well before it was online, right? This was in the arcades, right? But then when they finally start going online and then you can play people around the world, I found out quickly how not good I was. I was killing people locally, but when everything went online, I was like, "Oh, I'm not that good." I thought I was good. Once it went worldwide, that was it. I was like, I ain't got that time to be playing no more. I was older then. It didn't matter. The government is jealous, slave master. She doesn't like competition. Brother Truth Be Told says, I can't respect the system if our black people are only victims of it and keep out of the top. I want out this. I can't respect the system if our black people are only victims of it. Brother Truth Be Told, I want you to try your best to try to break away from thinking it has something to do with color. Because to believe color has something to do with it, it's like saying like this. This is what it sounds like when people talk about the color of a person's skin and finances, okay? If I said 1 + 1 = 2 and somebody said, "Oh, LJ just knows that because he's black." 5 + 5 = 10. Oh, that person only knows that because they're white. See how that sounds? Sounds dumb, doesn't it? Sounds totally stupid. All you have to do is look at it. Does that person, of whatever color they are, do they own themselves? This is all they really have to do, right? This is all really, which will never happen. Okay. I'm gonna tell you something that will never ever happen. If they could send out a survey to each race to find out which race believes in mathematics the most. Then you'll pretty much know which race runs the country. The majority might come back and it might be white, and then the next might be Chinese, and then, Jewish people, and, whatever. Which race trusts mathematics the most when it comes to money? Which race knows? Now, this is what you guys got to really understand. Which race knows that capitalism is psychological? Which race knows this? Which race knows that no currency exists for the majority? Which race knows this the most? Because you better believe this. Let's put it this way. You better believe that had I known this in my 20s and 30s, my children would have known this. They would have been automatically raised like that. That wouldn't have been an option. It wouldn't have been a choice. They would have just been raised. And the reason why, okay, put it this way. Here's a good example. I remember as young as I can remember, I had chores around the house. I don't even know what age my mom started me doing it. I just know I felt like I was born into chores at the house. I had to clean my room. I had me and my sister had weekly kitchen duties, living room. We had to swap back and forth. One week I had to do the kitchen. The other week my sister had to do the living room. Our rooms had to be blah blah blah. We had to do deep cleaning every weekend before we can go play or spend a night at a friend's house. Deep chores had to be done. I remember going to school one day and talking to a friend or whatever, right? And he told me he didn't have chores. That shit blew my mind. I was like, what? I was like, you don't have to do deep cleaning and clean the kitchen and wash the dishes and clean your room. He was like, nope. I went home that day to my mom. I said, Mom, I'm gonna just make up his name. Bobby said he don't even have any chores to do anything. And she looked at me like, I don't care what Bobby has. I remember the look on her face. I can't remember the words she said after that, but her look on her face was like, I don't care what Bobby has. You do. I was like, oh, that's the same thing. My children would have known you don't finance things that go down in value. Money doesn't exist they would have known money, currency in any form doesn't exist for people in debt. Capitalism would not work if the majority wasn't in debt. I would have shown them because when they're kids, their minds are like sponges. I wouldn't have had to do demonstrations and why this. They would have just known. And then once they went out in the world, now if they and they grew up, so let's say like they go out into the world. And then because you got to remember the majority of people are debt slaves. They don't know that currency doesn't exist for them. They don't know that. But once they went out in the world and then been bombarded by you need credit to do anything, equity, blah, 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 they would have known. And if they would have made those mistakes and believed them and then found out the hard way, guess what they would have said to themselves? My dad told me not to do that. My dad said that. My dad said, "Don't finance a phone. Don't finance cars. Don't believe you're a homeowner with a mortgage." He told me that. My kids would have never said, "Hey, Dad, will you co-sign for a car for me?" That would have never. Those words would have never uttered out of their mouth because they would have known my dad don't finance stuff. You think he's going to be responsible for a finance car? No. Oh yeah, I know that's been happening for sure. That's been happening. Waiting to see it, waiting to lease a new Apple iPhone. I never understood why, but now I understand. Now I know, and it's worth. Well, I mean, it's phones, period. Because you guys got to understand this: that phones are now so outrageously priced. They're almost like cars. You think debt slaves have no money? They barely have $500 in their account. Okay. You think a debt slaves debt slaves have $1,000 to $1,500 to drop on a phone every single year, because you got to remember, phones come out every year. Every year. They make the phones higher and higher. And now debt slaves believe financing phones are that's normal. That's nothing. Payments. All you got to do is go to Apple's website right now. Just go pick the highest phone. They got payment plans in there. Hey, get this phone. And then they got an Apple backup plan to just in case if it breaks or whatever. No different than warranties on cars, gap insurance. Businesses know debt slaves have no money. Of course, they're going to want a warranty for their product that they didn't have the money to pay for, because if it breaks, they didn't have money to buy it. You think they have money to fix it? Mm-mm. No, of course you're going to have a backup plan. And then they got listen, they got deductibles on insurance for phones. They got deductibles. You just don't get insurance on your phone and it breaks and they cover it 100%. You got a deductible on insurance on a finance cell phone. Mm, 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 mm. Which group has a disproportionate amount of wealth in relation to their population? Would you say there? Whom also have finances as part of their religion? I don't know. You're going to have to tell me, Andre. You're talking in code. Brother, truth be told, Martin Luther King Jr. said, "It's cruel gesture to tell a bootless man to pull himself up by his bootstraps." Wow, that's pretty powerful right there. Have you seen alter ego virtual singers are coming? Musicians and artists about to be obsolete too. Ooh, it's what it. Instead of, and I'm not saying you, Clarence, but I'm saying always remember, nobody stops evolution. When you see stuff like that coming, you got to adapt and go straight to it. You got to be like, okay, what am I going to do to adjust to this new world? And once you, it's crazy, because once you become wealthy, you don't really have to adapt the same way other people have to adapt, right? You can pay other people to do that, because the younger people, they just jump on the stuff, and you just find if you can get a young person who is debt free, right, to jump on the next biggest thing. Because I'm not saying there's not money to be made off of NFTs and cryptocurrency and all that stuff. I'm not saying that, but all you got to do is understand, you watch how the debt slaves adapt to it, and you take advantage of them, because they don't know they don't have physical currency, right? They don't know that. So of course they think things will change in virtually, but you just take advantage of that financially and everything legally, because you don't need to financially scam debt slaves. Okay, you don't. I mean, that's wrong, to take something to take money from people that don't know. You know what I'm saying? You just don't do that, because you don't have to, because they don't know. Psychological capitalism. When I think about that, I wonder who was at that table. What minds were at the table to say, This is what we're going to do to keep our wealth, not only our wealth today, generationally. Because they use words like the Federal Reserve, so people, for debt slaves to think that the name has something to do with the feds or something, and it has nothing to do with anything. I didn't really pay attention to the central banks until I owned myself, and I'm like, oh, that's their purpose. That's why they're around the world. That's why central banks are everywhere. Got it. Understood. They're always on the Central banks are always on the prime real estate in every place they are built. I would love to go into the central bank, not in the places that they allow tourists, the places where they allow the people that get it, that understand it. 1 second. Because I just want to, like, if, just like the cold words are psychological capitalism, because millions don't know what that means, right? So if you somebody like if Jeff Bezos was walking by, all the debt slaves and paparazzi, hey, they ask him the same dumbass questions. I'm sure it just irritates him, right? Hey, Jeff, what do you think? And if he walks by and I go, psychological capitalism, I guarantee you that would stop Jeff Bezos in his tracks. Make him turn around and say, hey, who said that? Because if that was me, like when SMD blows up, because you can say, even if a debt slave heard me say this to him. Now you have to understand you have to know what that means. You'll get my attention by saying it, but now you have to speak the language. You have, and in order to know what psychological capitalism means, you have to first own yourself. You have to do the work to own yourself. Because debt slaves, they just know words. You guys, first of all, that you guys don't know that no currency exists for you. Okay, you just know, you think buy equals own. Oh, real estate is the best way to become wealthy. Yeah, that's true if you own it. Yes, owners don't have payments. That's what makes them owners. See how simple I simplify what it means, and owners don't have payments. That's what makes them owners. But instead, mm, two people could live next door to each other, same house, same value of the house, but one bought it in cash and the other has a mortgage. The person with the mortgage will think the value of their home is still the same as the person that paid cash. They will still believe it's the same, and they own nothing. They are owned. People with mortgages are owned. Mortgages by you, not the house. You think you're the same. Somebody pays cash for a house and buys it in one day, and you think you're a homeowner, but you're paying on it for 30 years? Come on. You got to. Can you imagine the I just want to be in the same room with minds like that. I just want to be there. I don't want to sit at the table. I just want to listen. I just want to how? I'll shut up. I won't say nothing. I won't say a word. If I move in a chair and they turn to me and say, "Hey, LJ, will you stop moving with that chair squeak?" Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Where when did it start? How how did this what? because millions. I mean, this is what really got me right. I would I googled how much they made money for, right? And it's in the pennies. They make a $100 bill for 14 cents. And I didn't really pay attention to this until I got out of debt. When I found out they made a $100 bill for 14 cents, I was like, wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. Well, okay, hold up. But I believe it's 100. That's a $99.86 profit by printing it and then handing it to me. And now I believe it's 100. I was like, what? Okay. I said, okay, I'm onto something here. Like, and so I took it to a couple of my friends. I said, hey man, did you guys know how much they print money for? Do you do you know how many do you know how many excuses they oh man, they gotta do this and then they gotta deliver it to the people and then the economy and blah. I said, no, wait, stop all that. Just stop. Just look. Do you know if you try to copy this 14 cents piece of paper, you can go to prison for 10 years? Do you know that? For 14 cents. Oh man, no, I don't know. What? Explain it to me. But what I realized now, they were debt slaves. They didn't know how to answer that question. I didn't recently know how to answer that question until like last year because capitalism is psychological. You have these videos on all this fancy stuff they do to prevent from copying. They use this special cotton paper and this ink and put bands in it and put all these special strips and blah blah blah. You did all that for 14 cents? You did all that for 14 cents. It's not as fancy as you think. You try to make something fancy like that for 14 cents. You try to do that. Good luck. Agreed, because if you cut through all the financial statements and math, it's all psychological. It's all psychological. A car loan buys you, not the car. The reason why you need a car loan is because you don't have money to buy the car. See how simple I make it sound? Like when you come up, like for example, you say, "Man, I need a new car." Okay, say like you say that, "Man, I'm so sick of this junky car, man. I need a new car." All you gotta do is log into your account and see if you have the money to buy a new car. If you don't, that's why you need a loan. All you gotta do is log in your bank account and clearly see that you cannot buy a new car. A new car is $40,000. You log into your account and see that you have 500. You can't buy a car. Buying a new car is not even an option. You'll see people all the time with they'll have an older paid off car, and something's wrong with the engine, and something it might cost $1,500 to fix. This is what debt slaves do. I'm not going to drop $1,500 into this car. It's only worth $5,000, but it's paid off. You got to figure out how come I don't have $1,500 to fix the car. So instead of paying $1,500 to fix it, they'll go finance a $40,000 car for 84 months and think that that's the smart thing to do. Mm. And then they have all the debt slave friends around them talking about, "Oh man, don't you do that? Don't put that money in that old car." Mm. You know why they do that? You know why you're friends? Know why you have friends that talk like that? Because you guys are debt slaves. Money doesn't exist for you in any form. You can't invest while having student loan debt. You can't do that. Who told you can do that? To be, again, I keep coming back to be at that table. They probably at that with this new virtual reality coming. I bet you there's probably a lot of private events somewhere. constructing the new, because you better believe that whatever, though virtual reality is coming, the main structure of how money will be done in there is still going to be capitalist. Okay, because that's what you guys are programmed to know. You guys hear people making videos right now. Oh man, go in there and buy virtual reality next to Snoop Dogg and all this other stupid nonsense. Prices are higher. They're already creating like virtual cities that are cost more in certain areas. No different than like Beverly Hills but you guys are, this is unlimited. They're going to be creating virtual worlds. You watch when Apple makes their virtual reality, it's going to be expensive, just like their product. And then you guys will be fighting against each other. Oh man, I'm part of the Appleverse. I live here. You got to be making certain amount of money to live here and blah, blah, blah. Whatever, debt slave, whatever. None of it exists. None of it. For the wealthy, it will. Because I'm not saying if you have real money, I'm not saying do not invest in virtual reality. I'm not saying that at all. It's I know it's not, I literally know it's not stupid. When I say stupid, Andre, I'm saying from a debt slave's perspective. I'm not saying from a wealthy person's perspective. Because when you have money, yes, invest in cryptocurrency, invest in NFTs, invest in virtual property. I'm not saying not to do that. But when you have money, you know what to do properly because that's the way it's going. Let the debt slaves believe that they're going to think about it this way. They think while having student loan debt in the real world, they're going to be thinking they're investing in the virtual reality world while having student loan debt in the real world. You wait till May 1st. You guys don't even get it. Wait till May 1st. When people's student loan debts are due, student loan payments are due. Loans equal you work yourself for the bank or company you obtain from. Yeah, that's true. That's what loans mean. You finance a car for 84 months, right? You just sold 84 months of the time in your life for a car. You just gotta reword it. That's why they use it. That's why they put it in months, because it doesn't sound like years. Can you imagine if you walked into a car lot, you sat down and they said, "Hey, you're about to pay on this car for 7 years." You'll be like, 7 years? But if they say 84 months, you'll be like, "Oh, that's nothing. I won't have it." You start making up these things in your mind. I won't have it that long. I'll pay it off before then. This is what you guys, debt slaves. You guys are all part of the program. I'll pay it off before then. I'm not going to be paying on this car for 84 months. I'll pay it off well before. Well, if that was the case, you wouldn't have come in and finance it in the first place. They'd just be like, "Yeah, shut up, debt slave. Sign these papers, whatever." You don't even have the money today. You think you're going to have it later? Come on. You don't have a finance car today, but most likely you probably pull in upside down in your finance car today. You trade it in, they roll over negative equity into the new loan along with gap insurance, because if you trade in a car with negative equity into a new car loan, of course you're going to have gap insurance. Of course. You already have gap insurance before you even trade into the new car, and then you're even, man. Of course, money doesn't exist for you. It's only possible to invest in people. None of this works without you guys. Do you guys understand that, debt slaves? None of it works without you. The wealthy can't be wealthy without you. People consume, not things. Robots don't consume. Like when you walk into Walmart, right? And you see a machine scrubbing scrubbing the floors and taking inventory at the same time. Do you know that? That's bananas. Scrubbing the floors, taking inventory at the same time. And who knows what else it's doing, right? They're not going to tell you everything. And then people go, "Oh man, this machine's taking away jobs." That machine wouldn't it couldn't be doing anything without you consuming. Without people coming in and buying product, there wouldn't be nothing for the machine to do. Not people walking in, dirtying the floors up with their shoes and buying stuff off the shelves. There would be no if you guys wasn't coming in consuming, the machine would have no use. Of course, it's taken away. They don't need you. The machine never gets sick. It's never gonna call in. The machine never even leaves the store. That thing that thing has cameras all over it, watches, doesn't bump into people, works 24 hours a day. Well, as long as its battery's charged, it can work as long as it wishes, as long as they have it working. All because currency doesn't exist for you guys. A job is a tool, but you guys don't know that. You get a job and you pull in with a brand new car, the employer knows they own you for at least the next 84 months minimum. You add then you add credit cards in a house, and now you guys are begging for overtime and mm, 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 mm. Here, when you hear me go, I think about me making six figures for years. I was making six figures for years, right? College educated, computer engineer, virtualization too, virtual shit, right? And I had not a dime to my name, no money, none, zero. Kept my student loan debt for like 10 years. Do you know to this day, I absolutely refuse to add up the true cost of my college education. I will not do that. All I know is paid off. That's good enough for me. I'm not adding that up. No. It probably sent me into a depression. Because for years, I was just too scared to even look at it. For years, it never even moved. The balance never moved. Even though I was making monthly payments on time, the balance never moved because I was making the minimum, which is designed too to keep me there. They give you the bare minimum payment because they know that's what you'll pay, and you'll stay right there making the payments. Oh, and then I start thinking of things in my mind. Oh, well, at least the payments will be good for my credit. I'm making the payments on time, so my credit score. I started making up shit in my brain, all part of the program, all part of the program because I had no money, none. A working, high educated slave. That's all. That's it. Those of you that listen, I really want you to soak this in. I want you to really understand this. No currency exists as long as you're in debt. You can't save money on taxes while you're in debt. You can't save money in retirement while you're in debt. It doesn't matter what Dave Ramsey says. Hey, pay off all your debt until you get down to your mortgage and then start investing in retirement. You can't do that. You cannot do that. That's mathematically impossible. You cannot do that's called business. Now you're probably thinking, "Oh, Dave Ramsey is big. He's helping people. There's nothing negative with what I'm saying. What he's doing. That's just that's totally up to you if you don't believe in the calculator. You can't save money while having a mortgage. Do you understand how if you paid off your house? Do you know how fast your money will stack with no mortgage or rent for the rest of your life? That's investing in yourself. So take it this way. This is what's called phantom income so you can understand how that works. Say like your mortgage is $1,500 a month, okay? If you pay off your house, now you have 1,500 extra dollars every single month for the rest of your life staying in your bank account. Do you understand? That's called phantom income. That's something that millions of people don't know. Millions. They don't know that. $1,500 a month. Listen, invested in nothing but yourself. And then when you have no money and no mortgage payment, then you go to the city that you live and say, and I don't know, I'm just talking out loud. You can go, hey, what kind of uh, tax benefits does is my city offering here? What kind of tax incentives that I can save on my property taxes? What do I have to invest in with not only with the return on my money, but save on my property taxes? That's what you look for. That's called phantom income. Debt slaves can't do that because you have no money. You can't save money on taxes when you're in debt. Now I know it looks like that on paper. You probably invest in okay. Let me give you another example for debt slaves that don't have no money. You probably think at your job is matching. You're like, hey, let me invest in my job said if I put in 6%, they'll match it. That's bait for you to put in that amount of money so they can save on their business by offering it to you. If you have a mortgage, you have no money to match anything anywhere. You don't know that. High earners are the most profitable and the most diluted. You know what's so crazy, Andre? You right too, man. I thought since I was a high earner salary, eh, for years, I thought like that, years. But they're the most profitable, especially people like in the medical field. They really got you guys, man. They really got you guys. They're like, hey, if you don't pay your student loan debt, we're gonna cancel your license. You won't be able to practice or whatever. Now you're trapped. Like people in the medical field. Mm, mm, mm. People in the medical field, whew, they got you guys good. You don't pay your student loan debt off, they can you don't pay you make your payments, they're going, "Hey, we're gonna cancel your license." You had no choice. Now you can't leave. You go to school all those years, get all that experience. What if you decide to get in the medical field and you don't like it, but you have student loan debt? Guess what? You can't leave. You have to find another job that's gonna pay as well as the money you made in the medical field, and you gotta do it with no experience because if you get out of that, you gotta start a new job with no experience and no experience making the same amount of money you making in the medical field. Good luck with that. Good luck. Now you're trapped and miserable, hating your job. Hospital telling you what to do, what you can do, work fucked up hours, you can't do nothing about it. Well, that's what you think. Because what you don't know, if you say like you love the medical field, right? Say like you love it, right? This is how, and this is just my opinion, okay? You know how some hospitals they'll say, "Hey, you come work for us. We'll help pay off your medical, I mean your student loan debt," right? In reality, in my opinion, when you come to when you come to them because you're going to tell them and show them how much student loan debt you have, now they have you. So if you come work for them and they find out you got $100,000 in student loan debt, you're not going anywhere, debt slave. Nowhere. You're gonna do what they say and when they say it. You're gonna wear this electronic leash because medical people still have they still got pagers. I was in the hospital not too long ago and I was like, "Is that a pager?" I said, "You guys still wear pagers?" They have a pager, they got a phone, they got an internal phone for the hot oh my god, just attached. Mm. But if you are in the medical field and you pay off all your now listen, I know you guys, if you don't believe me, you don't have to. But if you're in the medical field and you love it and you pay off your student loan debt and then you get a job at a hospital, And then you tell them, hey, yeah, by the way, I have no student loan debt. They're going to treat you very differently, especially if you're good at what you do and you have no debt, especially no student loan debt. They know, listen to my words fucking closely. They will know that they're not going to be able to treat you like the way they treat all the other medical people, including doctors, heart surgeons, back, spinal. So it doesn't fucking matter their title. If they're in student loan debt, they're just professional slaves. Okay. You come on the field, you come on their hospital with no student loan debt and very good at what you do, they're going to treat you very differently because you're going to walk in and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to wear that pager. If, if I'm at work, yeah, I'll do what you require of me. But when I leave, all that shit that stays there at the hospital. I'm just letting you guys know. And I'm taking vacations. I'm taking a month off here. I'm not doing this. You guys are not calling me after hours. You better have a backup person. When I go on vacation, you guys will have a replacement to do all the work because I don't want to come back from vacation and have a backlog of work. You guys are going to make sure that's taken care of because I'm not doing backlog work. You guys are going to make those choices. I promise you. You'll be the best in your field because you will have no stress, none, zero, none. All the money that you make will be real. The cars, the houses that you'll have, you will own them. They will automatically know that not the hospital. The hospital will know once they see your money that you own yourself. But the people in your field that will be normally stressed, they will see that you're not because the people in those fields, they think stress is part of life. No, it's not. No, it's not. Stress is not part of life. No, it's not. And then they'll look at you and be like, why is this person so different than everybody else? You'll say, because I own myself. That's why. You know how fast your money will stack with no debt, especially in the future, because everybody's in panic mode right now. Everybody's in panic mode. You know how fast your money will stack in the medical oh my God. Mm, mm. Municipal bonds. Okay. Municipal bonds. Mm. I knew it was called something. And the reason why you'll be so successful because the majority of people not only don't know about the information that I provide, they don't even want to hear it. Debt slaves can't hear a word I'm saying. They can't. My man Andre and I, we always try to tell you guys this is a superpower. And what we mean by superpower, when you get out of debt and own yourself, you will understand that this is invisible to debt slaves. Debt slaves don't know what I'm saying. They don't know that money doesn't, they don't know. They don't know currency doesn't exist for them. They don't know that. They will believe just like they're called, that's why they're called sheeple. Debt slaves are sheeple, easily led, Sheople, sheeple. They're easily led, and it's like putting a leash on them and just come on, come this way. Like I know you guys might think this is funny, but when I go to grocery store, I cannot stand being led through a maze just to get to the cash register. I just want to just think about it. And I want you to catch yourself doing this, okay? If you see if you see yourself doing this, I want you when you get ready to check out at a retail store or a grocery line, as you're walking through the maze, just like a cow maze, If you catch yourself looking at the products back and forth, just going through looking at shit that you didn't come there to buy, and you're just looking at it and looking at it. I want you to catch yourself looking at what you're doing is exactly what they want you to do. Just look at shit. Just oh, let me pick up some chips or a coffee mug or a flashlight or some stupid nonsense. I specifically make sure I look forward because I don't want their cameras because they probably got the cameras up on the ceilings just to see, just to watch the people and their reaction so they know how to adjust the maze. So they know, oh, okay, people look more at this. They start looking at this point, and these mazes are getting longer and longer, just like a freaking cow maze. Leading to the cash register is the slaughter, so they can slaughter your wallet. And it's just business, don't get me wrong, it's just business. I'm not mad at for businesses doing that, but I wanna make sure when I walk through that maze, I want them to make sure when they see if somebody's watching or some kinda, some kinda commercial analyst or whatever is watching it, they see me come through and say, "Oh, he's obviously not one of them." Why not? He's not looking around, he's just going straight to the cash register and getting out of there because 'cause they're already saving money by having us check out ourselves. Believe it or not. Hey man, you got me because I'm a time saver. I'm faster checking myself out, but I know they're saving money by me checking out myself. I get it, totally get it. Because like Walmart, they think they're slick. Same thing, Walmart, Target, they all do the same thing, right? You go through a checkout stand, they always have some damn near a retiree inside of the checkout stand. Have you noticed that? You go to check out, right? There's a 80-year-old person sitting there checking out stuff. Of course, you are going to go to the self-checkout. Of course. I said, "Okay, you got me. Yeah, yeah, I'm not doing that." And then they probably have stuff not in the system on not in the system on purpose. So when the 80-year-old person scans it and they go, "Beep, oh, this is not in the system." You're like, "Oh, fuck, this is gonna be forever now." I just wanna look up at the cameras and say, "Ah, yeah, okay, you got me. You got me." Because when you're like you're going through the line and they beep, oh, this is not in the system. You're gonna be there for a minute, especially if there's a retired person at the checkout stand. Yep, I shop mostly on the outside. The inside aisles are insane, all junk at the front, and as soon as you walk into Winco, right? I grew up in Seattle. They got Winco there. They got Winco there. I go in there and it's like, oh yeah, I'm not going through the checkout stand. I'm not doing that. Beep, beep, beep. And then they want to talk and hey, how's Susie? But oh no, no, no. I just want to go up to a camera and go straight up close and say, "Hey, you got me, okay? I'm here. Yes, you're making money because I'm checking out my own shit, and you don't have to hire a checker. Okay, you got me. I have to come here to eat." Congratulations, Walmart. You got to respect them. Walmart got a grocery store in damn near every state in the United States of America. Multiple stores, multiple stores in damn near every state. Candy everywhere, donuts, uh, freaking sugar. Get your ass hooked like cocaine. Sugar everywhere. Sugar. Have you noticed that? Sugar's everywhere. Sugar. Anything to get to that money that doesn't exist out of your pocket. Got it. Understood. I got it. They see you grab a candy bar. Okay, we're gonna put more candy up there. People are grabbing candy and chips, and you come to the store to pick up something on your list, and then you walking out with potato chips and candy. Good luck. Good luck. Mm. You tired of being a debt slave? You tired of being used like that? You tired of just not having any money? None, 0? Because it's a it's gonna be a hard reality to really understand that you have nothing. The money that you think you've been saving in a certain account, to realize if you have a mortgage, it's not there in your savings account. If you're married to someone and you have a secret account and you got to put away somewhere that your significant other doesn't know about, you don't even know what's not there. You don't have no secret money anywhere. You just think you do. To sit back and really to accept, like, say, like, you've been in a house for 20 years making payments, but you've refinanced that house several times, to accept that you don't own the house, you don't have any equity in a house that you don't own the house, and you don't have any equity in a house that you never owned in the first, that you didn't have the money to buy. 20 years gone, 20 years of money gone. That shit alone will put you into a depression, especially if you financed a house, if you had student loans before you financed a house. Maybe you will accept this fact, but the sooner the better. Now your friends and everything will say, if you're trying to sell it and because you realize that you're not the owner, your friends, the friends that have mortgages up, like, you're crazy, don't do it. What about all the equity you have in the house? Housing values have climbed, whatever. They'll say you all the program information that debt slaves tell each other. Anybody telling you that type of information, you ask them, do you have student loan debt? If they say yes, you stop listening to them. Don't sell your house, man. Housing prices are going up. You say, are you making car payments? Yeah. Stop listening to them. They're making car payments. They don't know what that's a that's a unconscious debt slaves blabbing. That's called slave splaining. Well, it's either go to the grocery store or farm. No, I get it. Like, Clarence, don't get me wrong. I'm going to the grocery store. Okay, because I have to. I'm not growing my own food, so I have to go to. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just accepting. I'm just saying I'm walking into the grocery store knowing what they're doing. Okay, I'm conscious of it. I purposely, like, when I check out, I purposely look straight. I don't look at the stuff in the I don't want the cameras catching me looking like a cow, looking at all the stuff so they can examine and get some data and say, okay, we got to make it higher. There's some taller people here that live in this state. So we got to make the food racks higher. Whatever they're doing, I'm gonna make sure they, like, this dude ain't looking nowhere. He's just checking this stuff out and leaving. That's all I'm saying. Walmart usually gets a property tax waiver for decades because they create of course they do. Of course they do. That's why did you guys notice, like, when the shutdowns happened, Walmart didn't have to shut down. Did you notice that? When everything happened, hey, we're shutting down all the stores. Walmart didn't shut down. Nobody said, oh, the mom and pop stores are shutting. That's true, but you got to say, why is Walmart not shutting down? Because they don't have to. They didn't shut down Walmart. Did you notice that? Why? Because they bring money. You'll understand once you become wealthy. If you choose, you can choose to become wealthy. I choose it. I choose. That's what I choose. And I don't accept anything less than that. Wealth is a choice. Once you choose it, everything falls into place. First, you got to choose it mentally. You got to say to yourself, I can be as wealthy as Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett. You got to choose it. Car payments and mortgage payments are not the normal for me. I choose not to think about money. That's what I choose. I don't want to think about money. I don't want to think about it. For debt slaves, money is on your mind every single day. Every day you wake up, every time you go to sleep, thinking about money. The first choice you must make is I must choose to own myself first. Once you own yourself, you're like, oh, wait a minute, currency doesn't exist for the majority. For the people that understand it, currency exists for us. Money exists for us. For debt slaves, no. Anyway, let me put this link up for a quick second, see if anybody has some questions. Then we'll get out of here. There's a link if you guys got some questions. Got a couple of shows that I'm going to be watching here pretty soon today. Oh, crap. I didn't mean to turn that off. Any questions before we get off? Walmart usually gets a waiver. I wonder how many people get, like, obviously the big companies get waivers. Because I remember watching who was that, Tyler Perry. I know he opened up those studios in a particular state, his studios, and he gets some tax waivers or something like that. I mean, people hear that, but debt slaves don't know what that really means by getting tax waivers, right? Because you got to have money to get tax waivers. Any questions? All right, let me leave my email address for people that may want to contact me. All right. Don't forget to hit that like button. Do not forget to hit that like button. Much appreciated. What'd you say there, Clarence? Did you see San Francisco gave people money to stay homeless? Why do people believe that receiving free money doesn't still make them a? Did you see San Francisco give people money to? You mean you said to stay homeless? Why do people believe that receiving free money still make them debt slaves? Still doesn't make. No, I didn't hear about that for surely. Mm-mm. Yeah, I think it's in ATL. Okay, you're right. You're right, Wally. It's in ATL. I remember Tyler Perry mentioning that he got some kind of tax break for opening up his studios there, or he took over something there and turned them into his studios or something, and he got a stay. Okay, I remember. I figured you meant stay. Uh, to it's just tax breaks, his job, and I get his business. If you're a job, because you got to remember, if you create jobs, of course you're going to get tax breaks because the people that work there are going to be taxed for working there. So of course you're going to get a tax break, which makes total sense. So picture this. Imagine the tax breaks that Amazon gets. Can you imagine? Imagine those tax breaks. Amazon's factories are blocks and blocks, blocks and blocks. Can you imagine the tax breaks Amazon gets? Of course they get breaks. Of course. Because you imagine that you can only imagine the amount of revenue that they are creating by what? Creating jobs. None of this works without people working, without you. They can't create tax out of thin air. I mean, they do, but they have to use people to do it. Like, they can't create taxes off an empty field with nobody there. You know what I'm saying? Except for the property taxes. And that's nothing compared to putting something there and putting jobs there. to stay homeless. Hmm. Honestly, I don't really, for example, I don't know what they're doing in like Los Angeles. It's just the whole thing doesn't make any sense, it just doesn't something's happening. Maybe they're saying it's too crowded there, and that's the best way they can get people to move out of there. Because they can't kick people out. So if they create bad situations, let the homeless start putting up camps on sidewalks and trailer homes everywhere. And of course, if I live there and that happened, of course I'm gonna leave, and maybe that's what they want. Who knows? Maybe it's just overcrowded. But you gotta remember, it's things are changing too. It's not like you have to go to Hollywood to become a star anymore. Those days are done. You don't have to go to California to become big. You can become big right out of your house. You don't need to use studios like that anymore. Those days are done. And maybe people just not getting the fact that they don't have to do that. Nobody's leaving. They're like, hey, we're raising taxes. They're still not leaving. Who knows? But if they allow that kind of stuff to happen, of course people are going to leave, because it's gonna bring down property taxes, and everything's happening. It just doesn't make sense. That's the only conclusion I get. You know, Would you say that? Yes, it was an army field. I think. Oh, okay, gotcha. Family always figures I can help them because I'm single, no debt. What to do about that? You tell them no. This what I strongly suggest, Enigma, for you. Okay, don't when people ask because you have no debt and no kids, don't make up stuff. You look them right in the eye and you say, no. Well, you have no kids and you have no. I know. That's why I have money. No. Don't avoid. Don't bounce around. Don't try to not take their calls. Don't don't make up stuff. You just tell them no. You call them back. They call. Don't try to avoid their call. You see them call. You call them right back and say, "Yes, this is me. Yes. Can I borrow? No. Why not? Because I don't want to." Yeah, exactly, Andre. Redefine the word family. Borrowing money from me is the that means I have exhausted every single resource I had. I have no payments of anything, and then I really need it, because people will ask you to borrow money while they're making car payments. Hey man, can I borrow $50? And you see them roll up in a 2022 Toyota Camry, fully loaded, not the base model, fully loaded with the wing and the rims, and then they're asking to borrow $50. The answer is no. Sell your car. I remember I heard a person say like this. I remember I heard a person upgrade their car. And I said, "How much is your payments?" "Only $50." That's what they said, $50. I said, "50 what? What do you mean $50?" "Yeah, $50. I'm just paying 50 more dollars than what I paid for my last payment." I was like, "Oh my God, did you really say that? Did you really just say that?" Family asking for help because you have no debt that shouldn't carry, because that put you right back into debt, which is losing money, but the goal is to make more money. You just got to be comfortable. And a lot, what's so crazy? Put it this way: once you do what it takes to become debt free, once you understand the difficulty it is to become debt free and what it takes, the sacrifice you have to do by not going to events, family vacations, family reunions, or whatever, you don't go, and then you finally get out of debt. Now you can go to everything you want, right? It will be very easy for you to tell people no that didn't even try, especially debt slaves. They're not even trying to get out of debt, don't care, don't want to hear what you got to say to did it. The answer is no. I had a I had a brother of mine ask me, "Hey man, can I borrow some money?" Sending me pictures of his late slips of something, just trying to they be trying to over uh like they show you proof that they need the money. I'm behind on my electric bill or whatever, and I just need this and that. I said, no, but I can tell you how to make sure that doesn't happen to you again. I don't hear from him again. I didn't hear from him no more. Hey, let me call you back. Okay. I thought to myself, you're not calling me back. And sure enough, you're not calling me back because that's not what they wanted to hear. They wanted you to send them the money. The answer is no. I said, no, bro, I don't loan money. No. Oh man, you got it. Yes, I do. And I'm keeping it. The answer is no. And I'm sure when the phone's hung up, I'm every name in the book, but I don't care. Don't care. Anyway, time for me to get off. If you enjoyed the show, there's the Cash App. Much appreciated to all those that send me Cash Apps from watching videos. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. And for those of you that are listening, because I always forget to do that, I forget a lot of people are not watching, they're driving in their car listening. My Cash App is the $ savings minus debt. My email is savingsminusdebt@gmail.com. Okay. I always forget that a lot of people listen because of the time of the day right now. I know you guys can't watch me, right? I always forget. I always forget. And I apologize for that. I totally forgot. Okay. But if you can, hit that like button. Much appreciated. And again, Cash App is savings minus debt. Cash App, savingsminusdebt@gmail.com. Okay. All right. And I do consultations, hourly consultation where people call me for an hour a month or however frequently they want to talk, so we can discuss things that can't be discussed with anybody else really, because the majority of people don't understand what it means to like the answers that you're looking for. Dead slaves can't give them to you. Okay. Yeah, straight at them, Enigma. And the more you practice it, the more comfortable you will be with it. Okay, you have to be comfortable. And it's weird. It's weird that you have to be comfortable with saying no to keep your money. Just to even say that. Maybe you got to say that to yourself in a mirror, but you have to be comfortable with it. Like my family and people they know I have no problem saying no. So I don't get bothered. All right, you guys have a wonderful morning. You guys at work, remember that job is your tool. All right, so don't be upset that you got to work the hours. Just understand that it's temporary. You're using this tool to free yourself. Okay, so you can do what you want to do for the rest of your life. All right. All right, Andre. Thank you for joining, sir. Much appreciated. Everybody, Clarence, Nigma, Wally, Monique. I don't know if you're still up there. Lee, Nicer. You guys have a wonderful morning. All right. Later.